July 4th weekend, and we're finishing off a weekend with a quick run of Carnage Canyon. So this is a great trail. We were in the area, so we figured we'd just make a run through it. What do you think, Maddie?
I like it.
Maddie likes it. What do you think so far?
I like it.
Maddie likes this trail. This is fun. We haven't been here.
In a year.
Yeah, it's probably been 1 year. So always love this trail. This is a really cool, really unique trail. We start picking our way through the boulder fields at the beginning of the trail. This is a fun section. This is the first real obstacle along the way of the trail. What it is basically a large smooth rock, and sometimes it can be hard to crawl because it's kind of dug out down at the bottom. So I usually try and crawl it, and if that's not working, then I back up and give it a little bump. Once you get up to the top of it though, it's kind of sketchy dropping off the other side. So what I do is put it in the front only so that I can pivot in place while dropping off of it so that things don't get weird. It feels a little off camber and a little unstable at the top. However, it usually works out just fine. I was able to get up and over that turtle rock. It was definitely really dug out in the front of it, so you almost dip down before you climb up, and had to get lined up just right and then just punch it. There you go. Zig takes pretty much the same line that I took up and over this. However, he takes a smoother transition, dropping off the other side of this. That thing's dug out. Zig was a little bit more passenger when dropping off the side, so that worked out a little bit better for him. Oh, that's right. I didn't even try it. Everybody worked it to try and crawl it. However, pretty much everyone in the group needed to use a little bit of a bump to get up and over this rock. I believe Ryan here was the only one that was able to actually crawl this just by not having to bump into it, but just straight crawl over it.
Alright, so we are rolling up to the exit, or the middle waterfall, not the exit. This is the hardest part of the trail, in my opinion.
These dogs always find the dirtiest, muddiest water to go play in. This is the Waterfall V-Notch section of Carnage Canyon. This area is deceivingly slick. The rock is pretty much polished smooth from all the people that have gone over it over the years, and the water makes it that much more slick. It's weird because in Colorado usually you can just kind of crawl over different areas. However, this area is hard to crawl as soon as your tires get wet. I know some people that are able to crawl over on the sides. However, if you go up the middle, you're going to have to get your tires wet, and what that results in is having to bump through this middle section. This was not my smoothest time through the V-Notch, that's for sure. Usually what we do is go up to this rock and put it in the rear only, slide the back end over, back up a little, and drive up the V-Notch. However, once I started doing that, I just kept getting off just a little bit and things got kind of weird. So I just had to stay patient and keep trying to find that exact line. Now you don't have to run this as a V-Notch. You can actually drive through it sideways down in the bottom. It just leans you over really hard. However, I like to run this one like a V-Notch because then it feels like I actually did the obstacle. When making it up through the V-Notch, if you end up hitting your front passenger tire on that rock at the end, what happens is sometimes it slides you down sideways into the V-Notch where you don't want to be. So that's one thing you have to watch out for, like I kept hitting right here. Zig is able to push me back flat again. However, notice his hand isn't anywhere near where the roll cage could pinch his hand in between the rock and the roll cage. It's something you really want to be careful of grabbing any kind of vehicle. You never want to try and stop a rock crawler from rolling. However, once it's stopped, as long as the brakes are on and such, sometimes you can tip it back over. But never try and stop one that's rolling. And I fall in again. After multiple failed attempts, I finally get on the right line and crawl up and out of this thing. This thing can really frustrate me sometimes when you get off just a little bit. It's so slick in there, it looks like it should crawl right up. However, you end up sliding sideways and getting really weird. Zig ends up working this middle section and warming those 42-inch nittos up.
And bump it, you'll go right up it.
After warming these tires up for a bit, they finally bite and crawl up to the next section of this. Right here, Zig demonstrates perfectly how to do the rear dig on this section to get your back axle where you want it.
We're gonna have to move in a second. Are you gonna make sure you
Zig hits the V-notch perfectly as he goes up through this section. Ryan does a good job making it through this section as well. You can see just how slick the rocks are in here. These are 42-inch sticky BFG red label crawlers. And the rocks are just so slick and you just have to keep working it for any traction that you can find. Jonathan does a good job working through this section as well.
The rim broke.
Make sure you stay tuned for part 2. Things get a little wild out on this trail. See how we get out of this situation.